Hey guys, and welcome to another EDH Commander deck tech. This deck tech is on Mayael the Anima. Now, why would you play Mayael the Anima? You want to play her because she is a small little elf woman surrounded by flowers. And I'm not going to say she's a bad mamma jamma, mainly because I don't think I can pull that off. But she kinda is. The commander for this deck, and this deck is all about cheating in huge creatures. Just very big, nasty creatures that you shouldn't be able to get out as early as you usually do. Mayael the Anima is a 2/3 for each of the colors, red, green, and white, and her ability is 3 colorless, red, green, white, and tap her. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature card with power 5 or greater from among them into play. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So, you're going to have a lot of options with this deck. Chances are you'll get like maybe 2 or 3 creatures when you use her ability. So, you try to have your big creatures do different things. So, depending on where the game state is and what your opponents have, you can make the right choice as to which creature is the most valuable to you to put out. And yeah, it's shiny. What's up? So in this deck I play 3 base... I should probably do this the other way. I play 3 basic plains, 4 basic mountains, and 7 ugly basic forests. Yeah. That's it for the basic lands. As far as non-basic, I have an Ancient Tomb. EDH Commander, you're going to have a lot of life. Losing 2 is not that big of a deal. Plus, you need some ramp in this deck. Otherwise, you're just kind of screwed. Got Jungle Shrine. It comes in tapped, but it gives us one of each of our colors, or access to any of our colors, I should say. Command Tower, like Jungle Shrine, but better. But you can't have more than one Command Tower in a deck. Got Kessig Wolfrun. The additional power you're going to give with Kessig Wolfrun isn't that crucial, because chances are you're going to be using a lot of your mana towards Mayael's ability, but you get to give it trample. And for those creatures that don't have trample, giving them trample is just really nice. I have all 3 of the, I guess, bounce lands, they're called, in the colors that we have. The most expensive card in my deck is a Taiga, just the revised dual land of green and red. Got Grove of the Burn Willows. I don't really care if my opponent gains 1 life, or my opponents, depending on who I'm playing. But I really need color fixing in this deck, because if I'm stuck hard casting some of these creatures, they have some pretty daunting mana costs. I have the 3 Buddy lands in the colors of our deck. I have the 3 Shock lands in the colors of our deck. I have a Terramorphic Expanse. Like I said, the mana costs on some of these creatures are fairly restrictive, and I'm going to need to search out some lands every now and then. And then I have 1 of each of all 5 of the Zendikar fetch lands. I should do this. And yeah, so like I said, I usually don't run that many fetches in the deck, but it's good to help thin your deck, get some of the lands out of there so you have a higher chance of Mayael's ability getting more creatures. And like I said, there's mana fixing that is definitely needed in this deck from time to time, so having fetch lands in there is just good stuff. So now we're going to get into the big creatures. I try to have a lot of these guys do more than one thing if possible. There are a few not so stellar big guys in here, but there's not a lot of big guys out there that are like that, like insane. So we're going to start off with Mycoid Shepherd, a 5/4, and whenever it or another creature you control with power 5 or greater, which is damn near all of them, goes into a graveyard from play, you may gain 5 life. This deck's a little bit slow, so going up against some aggro decks, you're going to take a lot of life hit, or a lot of damage. Gaining some of that back is pretty nice. Got Spellbreaker Behemoth. Again, all your creatures are 5 or greater. It's a 5/5. It can't be countered, and creature spells you control with power 5 or greater can't be countered. So it's nice just being able to run your big guys out there. You know, you don't have to worry about them getting countered. Oversoul of Dusk, I'm not entirely sold on this guy. It's a 5/5 with protection from blue, black, and red. But outside of that, I don't know. The protection is nice. I don't know. I like my creatures just big and tramply. But the protection is good. I mean, it's pretty much saving you from most kinds of removal outside of like white. Got Kazul, Tyrant of Cliffs. This guy's very fun. A 5/4. Whenever a creature an opponent controls attacks, you're the defending player. Put a 3/3 red ogre creature token onto the battlefield unless they pay 3 colorless. So you're going to eat up some of their mana. Oh, sorry, earthquake. There we go. You're either going to eat up some of their mana, or you're going to get a 3/3 chump blocker. Not the worst thing that could happen. Sigarda. Not only is she a 5/5 flyer with hexproof for 5, spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause you to sacrifice permanents. So even if you're not facing against a deck that's causing you to sacrifice permanents, a 5/5 flyer with hexproof is pretty damn nice. Got Armada Worm. Outside of it being just a racy picture, which can distract your opponents, it's also a 5/5 with trample that puts a 5/5 green worm creature token on it with trample onto the battlefield when it enters. So you get 10 power with trample, which is very nice. Got Vigor. This is one of those cards in Commander that if you're facing against it, you hate life, but if you have it, you feel amazing. It's just so broken. Oh, I'm going to stop punching the tripod. We're going to see how that goes. It's a 6/6 with trample, and if damage would be dealt to a creature you control other than Vigor, prevent that damage and put a +1/+1 counter on the creature for each 1 damage prevented this way. And if when Vigor dies, put it back into your library. So you can chump block a 90/90 with the Birds of Paradise, and you've just put 90 +1/+1 counters on a Birds of Paradise. It's so crazy. It stops your opponents from attacking or blocking or just doing anything. It's not a fun card to play against. Soul of the Harvest. Extra card draw is not bad, and it's a 6/6 with trample. Sun Titan. You don't have that many converted mana costs 3 or under permanents, but you do have some. I mean, getting your Soul Ring, some of your enchantments, if they get rid of them back, is nice. Plus a 6/6 with Vigilance. Nothing horrible about it. Ooh. Got a Moonveil Dragon, a 5/5 for flying, and it has like multi-fire breath. You can pay a red. Each creature you control gets +1/+0 until the end of turn. So you activate basically fire breathing on it, and just every creature gets the benefits from it, which is really nice. Seal Hellkite, a good way to remove some stuff. 5/5 flyer, you can pay 2 colorless to give it +1/+0 until the end of turn. That really doesn't matter. You're not going to be wasting mana on that. But paying X colorless and destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost X whose controller was dealt damage by Steel Hellkite this turn. That's a nice ability. Swing in for 5, pay 3, get rid of, all their permanents that have converted mana cost 3. It's just really cool. Got a Rurik Thar, kind of a new addition. 6/6 Vigilance and Reach. It attacks each turn if able, which kind of sucks because he won't last all that long. But whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, Rurik Thar deals 6 damage to that player. You're not going to be casting that many non-creature spells. Once you get enough mana, you're not going to cast any spells. You're just going to keep using Mayael, if you can. Garruk's Horde, a 7/7 with trample. Fairly nice. Play the top card of your library revealed. You may cast the top card of your library if it's a creature card. You're never going to do that. You won't have that kind of mana available most of the time, unless one of your little ramp dudes is on top. But being able to see what card is coming up next is kind of nice. And like I said, just 7/7 with trample. Spearbreaker Behemoth. This guy's awesome. A 5/5 who's indestructible, and for the cost of 1 colorless, target creature with power 5 or greater, again, that's most of your creatures, is indestructible this turn. You will have some mana available. You can prevent a board wipe with, just 1 colorless to make a creature indestructible is crazy, and you can just keep doing it. Mulgraf Monstrosity. People will be getting rid of some of your bigger guys. They will be going into the graveyard. So getting an 8/8 with trample is good enough. But when it dies, exile it and return 2 creature cards from random, or at random, from your graveyard to the battlefield. You're going to have nothing but big guys in there most of the time. So just getting a couple of them back the at random doesn't matter all that much, because no matter what, you're going to get something saucy. Ancient Hellkite, a 6/6 flyer. You could pay a red. Ancient Hellkite deals 1 damage to target creature defending player controls. Activate this ability only if Ancient Hellkite is attacking. So you get in there for 6. If they defend, which they do, you can get rid of quite a few creatures depending on the mana that you have available to you. Furyborn Hellkite. This guy's awesome. I kind of wish he made any kind of splash when he was legal in Standard. But it's a 6/6 with Bloodthirst 6, and it's flying. So swing in with your numerous tramplers, hit them for 1, and then put your 12/12 with flying out. Yeah. Hamletback Goliath, the sexy one of the deck. A 6/6, and whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you may put X +1/+1 counters on him, where X is that creature's power. What's great about this is it's not just your creatures. So whenever they put anything out, he gets bigger and bigger and bigger. The only bad thing about him is he doesn't have trample or any kind of evasion, so he can get chump blocked all day. That's why we have Kessig Wolfrun in there. Give these kind of guys that get huge trample so they can get through for some damage. Tyrant of Discord. This card is very fun, even though most of the time it doesn't work out that well. It's a 7/7, and when it enters the battlefield, target opponent chooses a permanent he or she controls at random and sacrifices it. If it's a non-land permanent, repeat this process. Now, unfortunately, with EDH, by the time you get this guy out, they're going to have a lot of lands out. But if you go on a run and they have to sacrifice 3 or 4 very important cards to them, it just makes you feel good inside because it was complete luck, and it usually pisses them off even more. So it's a gamble. I put it in there because it's fun. Most of the time it enters, and that's just it. It doesn't do much else outside of that. But, you know, like I said, when it does hit some of their permanents, it's fun. Balefire Dragon. This card's awesome. 6/6 flyer. Whenever Balefire Dragon deals damage to a target or to a player, it deals that much damage to each creature that player controls. That's crazy. At the minimum, it's 6 damage to every creature they control if you can get it through. Use your Kessig Wolfrun, give it trample to guarantee you get through. And with the Kessig Wolfrun, pump it up so you can hit for 10 and then deal 10 damage to all your creatures. It's just crazy good. Got Sylvan Primordial. A 6/8 with Reach, which is pretty good in its own right. When enters the battlefield, for each opponent, destroy target non-creature permanent. Commander, EDH, you're going to have a lot of artifacts and enchantments. You will have something worthwhile to destroy most of the time. And for each permanent destroyed this way, search your library for a forest card, put it onto the battlefield. So when you're playing multiplayer, you get to go get 3 forests and get some of the cards that are pissing you off the battlefield. But even to get rid of 1, a 6/8 with Reach. Molten Primordial, a 6/4 with Haste. When it enters the battlefield, for each opponent, gain control of up to 1 target creature that they control. Untap those creatures that gain haste until the end of turn. This is really fun when you're playing multiplayer, because you get a creature from everybody, and you just get to swing in. A lot of times you could take, like, one person's only creature, and then, you know, just swing in with the whole team at him. Got Gruul Ragebeast. There's not a lot of removal in this deck, so this guy helps. He's a 6/6, and whenever Gruul Ragebeast or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, that creature fights target creature an opponent controls. You have nothing but fatties. You will be able to take down pretty much any creature you want. Angel of Serenity. I'm sure everybody knows what Angel of Serenity does. But a 5/6 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile up to 3 other creatures from the battlefield and or graveyards, and when it leaves battlefield, you get those cards back. So if they get some of your more important fatties in the graveyard, you can get some of those back once Angel Serenity dies, or just clear the way by getting rid of 3 of their creatures. It's just nice to have options. Giant Ataphage. Ataphage? I'm going to go with Ataphage. A 7/7 with Trample. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of it. Now what's fantastic about this is that the tokens do it too. So if you have 6 tokens and the original, and they all swing in and they all deal damage, you get 6 more. It's just, or 7 more. 6, I forgot what I said. However many of them deal damage, you get that many. So it's just great. It's not like Progenitor Mimic where the original is the only one that makes copies. this guy just, you know, the tokens will too, as long as they hit. Gisela, just a crazy card, 5/5 flyer with first strike. If a source would deal damage to an opponent or permanent an opponent controls, source deals double damage instead, and if a source would deal damage to you or a permanent, prevent that damage, rounded up, half that damage, sorry. Yeah, that's just fantastic. It slows them down a lot, it increases your clock on them. It's just, it's a game changer when it drops. Vorinclex, another one of those cards that is so much fun when you have it, but when your opponents have it, you get angry, which is what, you know, Commander's all about. A 7/6 with Trample. When you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land could produce. Now, whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, that land doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So you slow them down with their mana sources, you double yours. It's just, it's good stuff. Got Woodfall Primus. The Persist is nice. Again, just a way to take care of some stuff. There's not that much removal in here. But it's a 6/6 with Trample. And being able to hopefully destroy 2 target non-creature permanents. Yeah, pretty nice. Critterhoof Behemoth. Hopefully you have a bunch of fatties out when he drops. Haste, you know, getting +X, everything helps. And giving them all trample is what matters. You know, get that one big alpha strike in when he drops. Advara Hellkite. You have quite a few dragons in this deck. It's a 6/6 flyer, and whenever a dragon you control attacks, put a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying onto the battlefield. So the tokens trigger too. Whenever the token dragon attacks, put another 6/6 out. It gets crazy. It gets out of hand so fast. Avacyn, Angel of Hope. An 8/8 flying with vigilance. And herself and all other permanents you control are indestructible. Good thing about that is it's not just creatures, just every permanent you control is indestructible as long as she's out there. She'll anger some people. Platinum Empyrean. An 8/8, your life total can't change. That's nice. Iona, Shield of Emeria, a 7/7 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, choose a color your opponents can't cast spells of the chosen color. What's great about that is you can choose a color of your own deck and it doesn't affect you. World Spine Worm. A 15/15 for 11. The Trample, again, is awesome. When it dies, put 3/5/5 worm creature tokens with Trample onto the battlefield. Again, Trample's so nice. And when it's put into a graveyard from anywhere, shuffle it back into your library. So, quite a few of these cards, you shuffle them back into your library, like Vigor. You have another chance to get them with Mayael's ability. And that's pretty much the huge creature package. This is kind of some library manipulation here. Got Sensei's Divining Top, just an all-star in any EDH deck. Sylvan Library. Your ramp creatures are fairly important early on. Taking the life isn't that big of a deal because you do have 40, but you have to be somewhat careful because you won't have many creatures out for a while and you will be taking damage early on. Scroll Rack, just a great way to get some of the fatties that are stuck in your hand on top of your library so you can activate Mayael and get one of them out. Soul Ring, not anything to be said about that. Birds of Paradise, just quick mana fixing. Sakura Tribe Elder, again, quick mana fixing. Not Vine Mystic. This guy's pretty fun. It's a 2/2, pay 1 colorless, tap him, and add 1 of each of our colors. So for 1 colorless, you can pay half of Mayael's cost, or you can pay to get Mayael out. He's pretty nice. Kadama's Reach, more mana fixing and ramp. Explosive Vegetation. Oracle of Moldiah, again, as I said in my other deck, I try to put her in any deck that has green because she's just that amazing. Solemn Simulacrum, a little bit of card draw and mana fixing. And here we have the few ways we have to cheat big creatures in. Elvish Piper, it's a 1/1 for 4. Pay a green, tap it, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. She's extremely fragile. Hopefully you get a creature or 2 off before she dies. But, you know, paying 1 green and putting out, you know, something that costs 11 is just, you know, it's crazy. Defense of the Heart, I love this card. During your upkeep, if one of your opponents controls 3 or more creatures, sacrifice Defense of the Heart. Search your library for up to 2 creature cards, put those into play. They can have a Llanowar Elves, a Birds of Paradise, and like a 3/3, and you get to go get your Avacyn, your World Spine Worm, you know, anything you want. It's so crazy. It's so good. Quicksilver Amulet, Amulet. if Mayael misses, or you just get trapped with a couple of fatties in your hand, for paying 4 colorless, you get to put them onto the battlefield. It's really nice. Lurking Predators. This card is so fun. It's an enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, not just creature spell, whenever they cast a spell, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, you can put it on the bottom of your library. So you get to keep it in your library so it can hit off Mayael. But whenever they cast a spell, reveal the top card. And if it's a creature, like, they could play anything. No, they play a Ponder. You get a, Utvara Hellkite. It's awesome. I love that card. Illusionist Bracers. Yeah, just a great way to double Mayael's ability. Get even more fatties out there. Same with Rings of Bright Hearth, except you have to pay each time, as opposed to Illusionist Bracers' initial cost. Champion's Helm. I wanted a way to protect Mayael, but also if, she gets dealt with enough, and I don't want to waste the mana on her, I have some of my cheats out there, Quicksilver Amulet or Elvish Piper. Some of the creatures in here are legendary. I wanted them to benefit from the +2/+2. Every little bit helps. Lightning Greaves, good way to give those fatties haste, or again, to protect Mayael. Mayael's Aria. This card I've never won with, I want to, and I will leave it in this damn deck until I win with it. It's an enchantment that just costs 1 of each of our colors. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control if you control a creature with power 5 or greater. You will. It's just going to happen. Then you gain 10 life if you control a creature with power 20 or 10 or greater. It takes a little bit, but, a couple activations with the first ability +1/+1. It happens. And then, you win the game if you control a creature with power 20 or greater. I haven't had that happen yet. I want it to happen so bad, and I'm going to leave it in there, but it's just a nice alternate win condition. Yeah. I want to win with it so bad. Warstorm Surge, one of my favorite cards in this deck. An enchantment, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. If they have a creature that's pissing you off, you can get rid of it. I like the fact that a lot of the creatures, like the enchantments, kind of take care of the removal as opposed to, like, a Path to Exile, a certain spell. I just like that whenever they come out. And you can deal damage equal to its power to target creature or player. That's fantastic. You can just beat their face off. It's a really fun card and extremely useful in a deck like this that just has huge creatures. Titanic Ultimatum. It's got a hefty mana cost there. It's a nasty one, but until the end of turn, creatures you control get +5/+5, gain first strike, +5/+5, gain first strike, lifelink, and trample. The lifelink, like I said, against aggro decks, you will get low. Hopefully you guys can't hear the moron outside honking his horn a bunch. But +5/+5 is insane. Trample, it's alpha attack, get in there. First strike, they're going to have to just get rid of their entire board pretty much to block your creatures. It's pretty much a game over when you cast it. Praetor's Council, they will get some of your fatties into the graveyard. Being able to get some of them back is pretty sweet. Plus, being able to have no maximum hand size is really nice. You might get stuck with some big creatures in your hand. The deck doesn't work 100% every time. So, not having to pitch them into the graveyard and just waiting until you get your Quicksilver Amulet, your Elvish Piper out there, it's pretty useful. Enlightened Tutor, you can go search out your Defense of the Heart, your Lurking Predators, you can go get your Soul Ring, your Sylvan Library, just, any of the really good cards that help you early on. Worldly Tutor, you do have some great green creatures in there, but you're really not going to be searching for any of your big creatures. Chances are you're going to be searching for your little guys to help out, or your Elvish Piper to get them out. Yeah. Green Sun Zenith. That's what I meant by the green creature off Rolly Tutor, sorry. Brain's not working completely. But, Green Sun, you do have some decent green creatures, and you're going to go get your mana guys, more than likely. Get your Knotvine Mystic, your Oracle of Moldiah to be able to take some of those lands off the top, so Mayael's ability works even better. Swords to Plowshares. I wanted to have at least one spell in here that just like straight up removed something, and getting it out of the game is fantastic. They gain life equal to its power. Does not matter at all. You're going to be hitting them for so much. Beast Within, just an insane green removal spell. And they get a 3/3, which probably will not live very long. Wrath of God, you might get behind. Like I said, aggro decks, they can start putting some damage on you fast. And this deck does take a little while to get going. So being able to clear the board, make them start over when you're hopefully getting close to stabilizing is pretty nice. And Austere Command. Again, being able to clear the way, stabilize a little bit, and the great thing is, all of your guys cost more than 4, so you can get rid of, if you're facing a tribal deck that just has no bunch of little zombies or elves or goblins or anything, you can get rid of all of them and keep all your guys around because they are converted mana cost 4 or greater. And yeah, that is the deck, guys. Like I said, there's get her there. There's a few cards that I might change, but I'm pretty happy with the deck. Again, I just play 1v1, so it's not super competitive. It's just more so having fun than anything. And it is fun. A lot of the bigger creatures and stuff, it'll piss them off a little bit, but like I said, Tyrant of Discord, I think it's just fantastic when it actually works a few times. It angers people so much more than if you just got rid of, their permanents. And, yeah, if you like little flower-covered elf chicks who pretty much get all your big guys out, then this deck might be for you. If you guys have any questions about it that I didn't address, go ahead and ask below. If you guys have any cuts or recommendations for the deck, please let me know. I'm always looking to improve my decks and to, change them up every now and then so they don't get stale and boring. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hey guys, if you liked this video, do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Also, feel free to click on the videos down below to see other great content my channel has to offer. I can't promise you that it's going to be entertaining. I can't promise you that it'll be educational and that you'll learn something, but I can make you one promise, and that is that every single video I upload will have at least one fat person in it.